I'm Ryan, this is my brother Daniel, and this is Rolls in the Family. And today it's another month. The months keep rolling by, Daniel. And I'm good at intros.
That was great.
The months keep rolling by, and
They
that
do indeed.
means that is another month where we need to talk about what our top plays were. At this point, it's the power of a streak, right? Like, we've done this for now how many months? We started in January of 2023.
Yeah.
That's a fair number of months.
That's a lot of months.
It's like over 30 months.
Wow.
That we've kept this going in a row. So got to be here.
And I'm going to be turning 30 here in a month. So
true.
That's
not always going to be true. Those things progress at different rates.
So it's like my goal. It's kind of like my golden birthday.
It's kind of like your golden birthday. Wish Daniel down in the comments a happy golden monthly play age synchronization event.
Right.
We will have links to all of the games we talk about down below if you want to check them out for yourself. And we would love to hear in the comments what your top recent play, top play of the month was. It's interesting to hear what's actually hitting the table for other people and going well, ideally. Also exciting, Daniel, is coming up starting next week. We have the countdown of our top board games of
the most wonderful time of the year.
Yes, that's what I'm sure is on every viewer's calendar, waiting for this to drop, probably because they want to win a free board game. And that is something that we combine with our top games countdown, is the opportunity for 3 lucky winners to win pretty much any game from our top list. It's pretty flexible. So be tuned for that. That should be good fun. But we're here today, Daniel, to just talk about some plays.
Right.
Did you get some good ones in July?
A decent month. I all 3 of these I feel really good about. So how about you, Ryan?
Okay, nice. Actually, pretty good. These are pretty solid, actually.
Okay.
I would say like this month the pool of options was not as big as some prior months.
Right.
But the top 3 were really, really good.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've had other months with like I've got a huge pool, but there's like a lot of pretty good plays.
I was just gonna say. I mean, we're coming off June, where June is always
there's a lot
of plays in June. So, but a quality month. Quality month. Well, Ryan, I'll kick things off here. My number 3 play of July. I got to play this game at a player count that I've never played it at before.
Whoa.
A player count that the game doesn't even technically support. And yet it worked beautifully. My number 3 play goes to the Quacks of Quedlinburg, where we had to get together with 3 other couples, 2 other couples? I guess, 2 other couples. And so there were 6 of us, and we're trying to figure out what to play. And we've all played Quacks of Quedlinburg before, and one of the guys brought his, he has the big box of it, and which goes up to 5 players. And we were like, I've got Quacks of Quedlinburg here downstairs. We could just pull a color and pretty easily add another person. And so we decided, I'm always a little skeptical of trying to is there going to be something about the game that doesn't work well when you add a player beyond what it recommends? But we did this, and wow, it worked great. Especially, if you had people who didn't know the game, adding more players, could a little bit bog it down, although a lot of it's simultaneous play. But man, the game flew. Like I would have to check the time. I want to say we played in like an hour. I mean, it moved really fast. It felt great. We did have to, obviously I was red, because I'm always red, but there was another guy who was red. And so we had to like make sure like I had one of the extra chips with like one of the droplets or whatever ones to kind of indicate. And we didn't play with any of the expansions or anything like that. But it was a super fun game. I mean, I went the route of we had those purples that when you pull when you pull them out, that based off how many you pull, you can upgrade an existing chip that came out, and that one's just fun because you can really start, if you pull those, start getting your bag to be really good. And so I was leaning into that a lot. I remember I was leaning a lot into reds as well, and I was trying to remember before this video what the power was, but it was something where I wanted a red to come out early because it was helping the rest of my reds or something like that.
There's one that makes, I think, pumpkins go further based on how many reds you've drawn.
Yeah, it wasn't
but who knows?
It wasn't.
I wasn't there.
It wasn't the pumpkin one, I don't think. But so one, just for it to work at a 6-player game, for us to play a little bit more strategic game, worked really well. Now I will say this: the wives dominated this game. It was the 3 wives took first, second, third, and then there was a gap between them and us husbands. So they smacked us around in Quacks. But the game just has such a great vibe, and when people know the game, it moves really fast. And even at 6 players, I know you've done more than the player count, but you've done it with shared
teams. I've only gone to a max of 5 boards.
Right. So there you go, Ryan. Would you ever consider doing adding? Well, I guess you would need someone.
I don't really have the means to.
You could buy another copy.
Yeah, buy another copy. It is one of those weird things where when having the things that you would need for such a rare opportunity, but when that opportunity comes, it's perfect for it. I mean, I've talked about a game we've enjoyed a few plays of recently when we were together was Guild of Merchant Explorers, and that's a game that has the party pack that expands it up to 8 players.
Yeah.
The base game only goes to 4. And it's kind of one of these, how often am I going to be in a situation that I'm going to play it with more than 4? 5 or 6 is pretty reasonable, but probably never 7 or 8. But man, if the situation came up,
I know,
and you did an 8-player game, it would probably be a highlight of the year in terms of a game experience. And so it's is it worth having it?
Yeah. It makes me wish they had an expansion that just added a 6th player.
Yeah, for Quacks.
You know what I mean? I'm just trying to think of what would even.
Yeah, well, now
problem there would be.
A new publisher has it, and it's been reprinted. We have the old edition.
We do.
Yeah, we'll buy. How about this? We'll buy an extra copy. Well, we'd have to find a copy of the old version, and we'll split it.
Ooh, there you go.
You take 2 extra. I take 2 extra.
There you
go. And then we each can go up to 7.
Love it.
Yeah, there we go. Nice. I haven't played Quacks in a while. I need to teach my son Quacks. He hasn't played it yet. He's totally
played Quacks. Wow.
Yeah, for some reason, it's the only game that I've brought up as one to teach to him that he for some reason is no, I don't.
Did
really
he like
know.
Quacks and Co? The kids version?
Yeah, I mean he's not crazy about it, but
we just tried that recently with Naomi. That was fun.
Yeah. Soon, hopefully. My number 3 has a bit of an interesting history. This is a game that we tried together on Board Game Arena, and we had a brief stint where we tried to do a little bit of Board Game Arena stuff, but we working it into our schedule, it had to be at night after our kids go down, and you're a time zone behind me, and we're just both so tired, and so it's hard to learn a new game and have a good experience. But we've also talked about how we're a little wary with giving our first impression to a digital implementation because it's not the same. It is different.
Yeah.
And so, do you want that to be your opinion of that game or whatever? And this is actually an interesting one on that front. So this is the game War Chest. And I think when we first played War Chest, and granted, we were tired and out of it. And I think I destroyed you. So I don't think it was a close, compelling
let's
game.
Play a head-to-head competitive game late at night when Daniel's on the verge of being asleep. That's
but I think we came away from it being I
thought it was
okay,
neat.
But it didn't seem as good as what we saw the ratings and the comments about it and stuff. But I always had this nagging feeling of man, I feel I should give it another shake. Because I just don't know if that really was a good enough representative sample. But it's also am I gonna buy it when that there's so many games I could buy? Am I gonna buy the game that I already had a kind of negative experience with. Well, the scenario came up. It's really like the only way I could have imagined this ending up back in my collection, which is that there was someone who was selling a bunch of games as like a lot of games locally. And from looking at it, was like, this is a pretty killer deal for all the games here. There's several of them that I'm interested in, and there's several that would be easy to resell. For example, there was Pandemic Legacy Season 1 in shrink wrap. I was like, well, that's very sellable.
Which you've already played that, right?
We've already played Pandemic Legacy Season 1. So I've since sold that. I sold the Dead of Winter Long Night standalone expansion, which is out of print. So it was pretty easy to like kind of make back most of my cost here. But one of the things that was in it was War Chest with both of the first 2 expansions. And it was like, okay, this is a great opportunity to get to give it another shake. And worst case, that's $100 worth of War Chest stuff. I can resell it. And so I had the opportunity to try this one out with my brother-in-law who's living with us right now, who also likes kind of abstract strategy games. So it was like definitely a good person to be testing this with. And we just had a fantastic game of this. Now, it was a learning game, and it's the type of strategy game that it can slow down a little bit as everybody really thinks through the implications of moves and stuff. And so we clocked it like an hour and 40 minutes, which is way longer than this game will normally be. I think normally you can expect this probably to land closer to a half hour. And especially once people know the stuff better and have played it, like you can really play pretty quickly. But at no point in this were we going, man, it was just one of those games where it was so compelling from start to finish. And I felt like I could now see what makes this game special. I love that each side gets 4 random faction cards that you have, and then the other person has 4 completely different types of units. And every game you can randomize that. So from out of the gate, like the variability of setup is awesome. But then it's got this whole bag building element to it that you're starting with a bunch of those chips. And oh man, that's the other thing. Going from the digital implementation to the physical, like they're these poker chips, quality poker chips. I mean, that's such a tangible thing in the game. And like, it's maybe a little silly that would elevate the experience a lot, but it definitely does a certain amount. As you're drawing 3 from your bag and you've got a hand of 3 chips. And then in the round, it's a back and forth of we're going to play these 3 chips. And I really like how it's like you draw these 3 out and it's this little puzzle of how do I apply these 3 most effectively? And so you can bring units out onto the map, but interestingly, you can only have 1 of each of your units. So at most, like each player can have 4 units on the map, 1 of each type. So I love how the game keeps it very like easy to understand. Like there's not that much going on the map, and so it's much more like the tactical interest between just a few different units as you try to go and secure these new sites and stuff. And each unit obviously has their own special abilities that are surprisingly like thematic. Like we would watch as these little like tactical pockets of battle would happen, and we'd laugh at how that actually like made sense that I came in here with my archer and he rushed the archer. Well, the archer's ability is he can shoot 2 away, but only 2 away. He cannot attack adjacent. And so then I retreated, and I was like, you could so see how like in a real battle, like this kind of thing unfolding.
Ryan
and they were like
overextended his archers.
Yeah, I overextended my archers.
Come on, Ryan.
Or maybe it was all a ploy to lure out his guys so that my lancers could come in, the cavalry from the side. No, but it's really cool. Just they're very simple abilities. Like you very quickly feel like you know what all the units do. There isn't a lot of that. Like some games start to have the friction of like, what does your unit do again? What's that guy's special ability? Even a game like Summoner Wars can start to have that a little bit of like, what does your elite guy do again? And we've talked about how Summoner Wars does a good job of repeating a lot of the common units, so that helps you. You're like, okay, I start to know what these guys do. I think this game does a really good job with that, of like you quickly feel like you know what your opponents and your units do. And yeah, it has such an interesting arc because you're bringing units onto the map, but then you can also discard a chip face down to recruit a unit to get like extra chips from the supply into your bag. But those are all limited. And when something dies in this game, it's gone out completely. And so there's this natural attrition over the course of the game that like, eventually the game's going to come down to like, you know, we've lost our chips and like it's going to be kind of the final. So you're kind of guaranteed it's not going to just stalemate.
Right.
So we both came away from this being like, man, this game is like really good. As far as scratching that abstract strategy itch, almost like a chess or this type of thing, but combining it with some kind of variable special abilities, and like every game is going to be a variable setup. But then even within that, you have the bag building. Whereas like most abstract strategy games, I know everything you know, right? So like we're both looking at the same game state. And so because of that, I'm not just thinking of what I'm going to do. I'm going to think, what would you do because of what am I going to do? You know, you're really trying to outthink each other based on what you both know. Whereas this, there's a little bit you each don't know, because I don't know exactly which chips you drew. And I actually love that, because it just adds a little bit more interest in it. There's some points where you have to make bets. You know, you'll go, okay, he has a swordsman on the map that's bolstered, so he's got 2 chips on it, which is basically like extra health for that guy. I can see he has one still in his that he hasn't recruited yet, and like I know from his card that there's only 4 swordsmen. So it's like, okay, he could have 1 swordsman in his. But there's also times where you can see all the chips. You're like, he cannot have it in his hand. And that's huge, because you could be like, I can make an aggressive move by this unit because he can only activate that unit by using a matching chip. And so he won't be able to attack me. So yeah, really happy with this pickup all of a sudden. And like the expansions are great in that they just, each one adds 4 new units that you can mix in. And add some kind of like little module things that you could choose, just kind of some lightweight module stuff. So yeah, it is probably the best example I've ever had of a discrepancy between my opinion, like playing it digitally and then getting to play it physically.
Yeah.
And if anything, it just makes me even more wary to learn new games digitally.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. The gap between the digital experience and a physical in person, like I think if you love the game physically, then digital is a nice convenient way to continue to do that. But there is a difference, and it even makes me think about things like, you know, we used to be a little bit more on the side of like caring less about premium components and more just like the mechanisms, right? And we still like, obviously that's the focus. But there is something about just the incredible tangible nature of a game. Yeah, I mean,
you think of the games we've talked about so far, Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Yeah, exactly. Where we got the upgraded chips, right? And that elevates the experience, and it's all connected.
Well, and here's the thing: War Chest was on my wish list before we tried it on Board Game Arena. We tried it. It dropped on my wish list because of that play. Like, had we not played that, I might have gotten it,
right?
You know, and so there is this, like, by having a suboptimal digital play, you may be preventing yourself from getting a game you would have loved if you. So yeah, interesting things to think about. I mean, there's some people that just value trying so many different games,
right?
That like it's a really good way to get to do a lot without having to like have all the cost associated with it,
right?
But for us, that we're like really trying to find games that we want to purchase, it scares me, Daniel. It scares me to go and try it on there.
Speaking of games that I
scare you,
this one does scare me because there's aliens in it, but
no, it's a little scary.
This is one that, you know, I'm not sure I'm ever going to own it for specific reasons, but I got my second play of this one, and wow, this one is really starting to elevate for me. This goes to SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence.
Yes.
I got to play this the second time. We played it together when you were out here with a buddy of mine, and then he owns the game, and so he brought it over again, and we looped in a third guy who hadn't played it. And one, it was great to play it again, you know, in a relatively short amount of time. Like that, just I'm just a fan of that. Of it, you can come in and you're like, okay, I just have a better. I'm not having to relearn this entire thing. But this play, I felt like the first play was good and I enjoyed it. This one really elevated the game for me.
Which is exactly how I felt with my first and second plays. It really is a game that helps to get one under your belt.
Like it's funny. I went a totally different route this game. Like the first game, I don't think I did anything with my supercomputer at the bottom.
Yeah.
Because, there's some different routes you can go. Like you can lean hard into sending out your probes and I remember first game got on lots of the planets, especially the moons out there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This game, total opposite. I was Ryan, and this is probably people who are good at SETI are probably like, Daniel, what are you doing? I didn't even launch a probe until like the second to last round of the game. I mean, because I was just doing so many things with my computer and cards and getting like different objectives. I was scanning a lot, and when you can get a lot of things through that, and I was generating a lot of points in different ways. Now I did end up losing, and the guy who won, he was the one who played in our game. He had a incredible game. Like I think the scores were. He had 215, I had 162, and then the other guy we were playing with had 115. So a little bit of a gap on the score side of things. But it's funny. One of my favorite parts about this game is that it's this Euro game, which we love. Games like this, but this game just feels so dynamic in multiple fronts. Like the rotating solar system. Mm-hmm. That's just such a fun and dynamic mechanism because it changes your opportunities of what you can get to and how the things rotate and all that. That's super fun. The fact that the aliens are new, you discover them halfway through the game, and
in theory they're different every game, right?
Different. We ironically drew the exact two that we did last time. But here's what's interesting, Ryan. We drew them one way earlier than we did in our game. Because remember our game, we didn't discover them until like the very end. And the second one in our game was the one that came out first, and that one is crazy to come out first because it's I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's some maybe. Push your luck, or there's
it's an interesting player dynamic.
It is an interesting player dynamic.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say the guy who ended up winning at some point went all in on that alien, and it very much paid off for him.
Yeah.
And it was incredible point potential, but just even that element makes each play of it feel. Even when we drew the two same ones, the when they come out and the order feels very different. Man, I just even if I lost the game by a good amount, and yet at the end of it, I was like, I had so much fun during that. And what it got me started thinking about, and I know we just did our games that we've culled, and I don't know if did you officially say in the video, or maybe you teased that you were considering it. I think you teased it, but I tell you what, Ryan, this might be the Underwater Cities killer for me.
Yeah,
because I enjoy Underwater Cities a lot. These games feel like they have the kind of things that I'm thinking about in the game, or the way that I'm thinking, feel similar. Like a lot of optimization. Both games you're not getting a ton of cards, but it's kind of like of the cards you get, and then again doing very different things in terms of what you're doing. But I don't know, they're kind of in a similar lane for me.
Well, and they're definitely in the same lane as far as the situations they would get to the table. Like both of them are longer strategy games that I usually would play at lower player. Like 3 is like the ideal player count.
I think that's the best. Yeah.
Both of those get a little long if you go up to 4.
I tell you what, I started looking at videos on the expansion for this game, and it just seems like a must own.
Yeah, I got it. I haven't played with it yet. Okay, nice. But yeah, it's literally like, if you would ask me, what do I want in a SETI expansion? Like, this is it. It adds, I think, 3 new aliens, which is awesome just for the variety. Then it adds like, I think it's like 9 different space agencies that at the beginning of the game you get to like draft. So you've now got variable player powers from the beginning.
Beautiful.
That you're better at something or have some kind of ability. And it basically adds like Terraforming Mars Prelude, where now you're getting jumpstart cards and you now skip the first round of the game. It's only 4 rounds instead of 5 rounds, but you get a huge new start. And again, it's a variable start that you're combining with your space agency.
Right.
So it's like, it's the type of expansion that, you know, could really move. Like, it's going to be interesting to see where this one lands. You know, we're starting our top games countdown here, which my list is already locked in.
Right.
So the expansion isn't going to affect that. But it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think I even included this one because I'd only played it once
yeah.
and whatnot. But it will be interesting. And again, I don't think I'm going to own it because I got a buddy who I game with all the time who owns it himself, and you own it. So
I have it.
But it was a super fun play of that one. So there you go, Ryan. It's my number 2.
Yeah, that's a good one. My number 2 also has aliens in it, but it is not SETI. From when you said that, I thought maybe we can have a crossover, but I was like, I don't know if you played it this month.
I did.
I think you played it last month. Did you actually play it this month?
Yeah. And I could have. It was another game I was considering on my top plays, but I didn't make it. Assuming we're talking about the same game.
That's yeah. I was trying to think of another alien game, but my brain didn't work fast enough.
I don't know if we have any other alien games.
Cosmic Encounter. That would be a shock of the century if that's what you play.
Can you imagine? I do want that one. It's on my wish list.
However, this is one that when you've talked about this recently, I keep saying I got to get this played. Got to get this played. And I hadn't even really been like scheduling, planning, I'm going to get this played. It was more I kind of got a group together and I threw this out as a possibility, and the group decided, oh yeah, that'd be fun to play.
You didn't plan ahead of time for it.
Well, I sent the text out like the day before. Because I was like, we could do this, but if we're doing it, I need to do a little bit of prep because I needed to review the rules a little bit. And this is Nemesis Retaliation. And so got to play a 4-player game of this.
Beautiful.
Our sister and her fiance were in it who have played once before, and then we had one new player. And this is just a great time, you know. It is such a dynamic game in just the story it tells and the way, just as you start exploring the facility and the way like events happen, and just like there's a lot of things that help give each session its own character. I absolutely love that every game you use a different mission card. That's kind of like the co-op objective that maybe everybody's in on. But possibly, and that's another thing I love. You could literally have a game where everybody has the, or at least in a 4-player game, everybody could have that they want that to go through. And you could actually play a game of Nemesis that's like 100% cooperative. Like if everybody decides
and it would be a lot of fun.
And it would be a lot of fun.
Right.
But the fact that you don't really know, and that sometimes, you know, and so we had the mission that we had to kill the queen, which I was really excited about because I'm thinking we're going to actually get to see a battle with the queen. I hadn't really seen that yet. Well, we did not get to see a battle with the queen because of how things unfolded here.
No.
We were going through, and at some point, our sister's fiance decided to set off the self-destruct sequence.
Oh, come on, Evan.
Now, our team objective was to destroy the queen, and the facility had to survive. So clearly that move was like
not in the team's favor,
at odds with what we were trying to do.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it was like, oh crap. Now if we're going to do this, we need to do this whole thing to like go try to shut off the reactor. But if you shut off the reactor, then all the oxygen and, you know, I love like just this game does a great job of like forcing people to just go down these Hail Mary routes of like, which is just going to create so many, you know, memorable moments. But pretty early in the game, around the time that was happening, both he and the other guy in the game got infected with larvae or whatever they're called. Which was like, okay, you know, basically if you don't get rid of that with surgery by the end of the game, you're going to have to do this occlusion thing at the end.
Which,
and
by the way, that's a great change from original Nemesis, where I want to say in original Nemesis, if you ever got a second larva, you just died.
You just died.
Yeah, that was one of the things.
Whereas now it's like if you already have a larva, you don't get one because you already have one. Well, what I didn't know, that I maybe would have warned them had I known it, is that there is an event card in the deck that basically is everybody that's currently infected with larva has to immediately perform the eclosion procedure. So there's maybe a little more risk to like,
a larva.
Waiting on that surgery. Now, granted, the event deck, I think there's only one of that card, and the event deck's like 30 cards or something. Well, we drew that card. And so both of them are now going to have to do that. And we're probably 60% into the game at this point. But literally both of them, their first of their like 5 cards they have to flip an infection and die.
Oh
so in that moment, half our table dies. What was ironic is for both of them, the first one was an infection, and their next 5 cards all weren't. Like so, it was a bad shuffle, but that changed the dynamic of the game a little bit because now it's just me and our sister. We both, from what I can tell, we're interested in the main co-op objective, but now it's like we gotta go. Turn off the self-destruct sequence. The queen is chasing us. We're like dying. And it's like, just realistically, because fighting the queen is, I haven't done it, but from what I understand of the rules, not easy.
It's not easy. It's possible,
you gotta, like,
but it's not
keep
easy.
Bringing down the health and like get through the whole. I mean, it would have been really hard.
It was a little confusing at first, but I do like how they do the queen health of it's kind of this dynamic, like you don't necessarily know because it's, the flipping of the cards.
Yeah, because if you get the card that burns more cards, you could get it quicker.
Right.
But definitely not an easy thing to do. And so we're at this point where we're pushed all the way back into section C of the base. The aliens are bearing down. The self-destruct sequence is like 1 away. And we're talking together and he's like, how are we going to get to the reactors to do it? Well, as I'm having all these conversations, I'm sitting there knowing what my other objective is, which is for her to die.
Oh, no, right.
And so we're the last 2. And I'm looking and I'm going, there's no way we are completing this co-op objective.
Oh,
so
no,
literally,
Ryan.
my objective is find the soul escape pod that hadn't been found at that point and abandon her to die in the facility.
You sick freak, Ryan.
And what's funny about it is like, we're trying to have she's trying to have conversation about like what we should do. And it's one of these moments of like, what do I even say? Like,
did you bluff?
I didn't really bluff only because it wasn't really gonna matter. I mean, I was kind of like, we'll see. I kept it like ambiguous. Like I obviously have. Oh,
you should have drawn her in. Be like, yeah.
You go to the thing. I'll be there in a second. But my fear was that she was going to find the escape pod because I don't know what her other objective is and if she would be interested in taking the escape pod. And so it did end with this moment of both of us in the room with the escape pod. We had like drones bearing down on our room. And you can just imagine the cinematic moment as the brother looks the sister in the eye and says, I never wanted you to make it, and goes out of the escape. And so Caitlin perished in the base,
and you got out.
I was the sole winner of the game. I was not infected at the end, and so I got out.
You got the noise. It's hard to get in. It's you have to do a noise roll to get
it was
in,
a little bit,
right? And that can sometimes be tricky.
And I failed the first one, and so then I had to try again, and then I got in with the second one. Which, here's what would have been funny, is if I don't get in with the second one, does Caitlin go, I'm losing either way, I'm going to spite Ryan and take the escape pod, knowing that she won't complete an objective, but knowing that
absolutely.
I won't. It's like the hierarchy of winning. It's like you want to win, and if that means everybody wins, that's great. But even better is winning without anybody.
But see, I think it also depends upon the journey, because I was sharing with you in the last top plays where I had a Nemesis game where because I was trying to get to the landing pod to escape with the guy, and he decided to not launch it and wait for me. And he waited around, and then circumstances happened, all these aliens, and there was no way I was going to get there. And if I try to move in there, I'm going to draw all the alien. I have like 2 equal routes. I could go to there or I could go a different direction. And I chose not to go there so that he could for sure get out. And so it really depends on like.
Yeah. I mean, there's times where because of the story earlier in the game, you go, I'm going to help you.
Absolutely.
Even though
it's not the logical thing, but it is the right thing.
We reward, loyalty.
That's when Nemesis is at its best, I think, is when you lean into that.
So overall, a really great game. It was a bummer that we had a dual casualty when the game would have been very interesting to see how it was going to play out after that. Because if that doesn't happen, there's probably a good chance that we end up turning off the self-destruct sequence. So you may ask, why did Evan want to do the self-destruct? His other mission was kill the queen. So it was literally the same as the team mission, except it didn't have the clause of the facility has to survive.
Okay.
So for him, he's okay blowing up the queen by blowing up the facility. And so he was going to, do that and go get the escape pod or whatever. Yeah. But unfortunately, the larva in his body had other plans. So he didn't make it.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, this game, it just really is everything I wanted it to be. And I think we both feel this way as far as just the niche it fits in this collection, in our collection of this highly thematic. We have highly thematic kind of co-ops, but the semi-cooperative, it just nails it.
Semi-cooperative.
It just nails
one that I think we've played.
So a lot of fun.
Oh, that was fun to listen to. Okay, Ryan, but not your number one. Wow. My number one, I actually got 2 plays of this in the last month, and I'm not even sure which one was necessarily my best one. They're both really great. But a game that, man, this is one of my all-time favorites, and it is the pinnacle of a couple games that we've, played in that this is the successor to. My number one
goes
goes
to... You played this more than once this month?
I got 2 plays of Age of Innovation this month. I got a 4-player game of it early in the month, and then my wife and I played a 2-player game of it late in the month, which, by the way, great at 2 players. Specifically, I'll say this. It works really well at 2 players. I would prefer 3. Specifically, I don't know if we built in a way where we weren't, I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention really well, where we ended up like not being by each other for a lot of the game, which is brutal.
Makes it really hard.
Oh my gosh. Because upgrading to your, guilds, is that? Oh gosh.
It's so hard.
I know, I looked this up, Ryan. It's workshop to guild to palace and then school and university. I know.
Is it Palace?
Palace is the top one. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
It's just like I've taught I've taught Terra Mystica 15 times, Gaia Project 10 times.
I'm fairly certain about that. Let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong. And yeah, so they do some good things about on 2 players, to add kind of a 3rd player on the competency track, or not competency track, the whatever tracks those are.
Competency tiles. Are they science tracks?
All the names, Ryan. I can't keep them straight. But
whenever we bring this up in a video, this is what ends up happening. Just choke over the terms.
But Ryan, this game is fantastic. It is fantastic. I mean, it just, as soon as you start playing, it is just this incredibly tight puzzle of trying to figure out how to best, expand and, upgrade things. But you're also like, it's this tension. I think one of the reasons I like it a lot is I love games that are very tactical and like optimizing in the moment. And this game has a lot of that. I mean, every round you've got, the bonus for the round, and then you've got,
although them, them
up front,
of the game,
right?
So you could argue it could be very strategic if we think
for sure.
Ahead,
yeah. But I don't do that.
We're not about that.
I look over. I'm like, oh, look at what's up here this round.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it really just builds upon the great system of Terra Mystica and Gaia Project. But the variability in this copy is just incredible. Like, you realize it as you're setting up the game. You put out the board and it's like, oh, those 3 abilities down there that you can spend power or spend books to do. Variable every game. They, obviously the round bonuses. Variable. The factions and terrain, the combination that you do a draft at the start of the game, and those the faction, the terrain type, and the round bonus,
starting
thing, all random together. I mean, it just, and then even the over on the other board, the competency tiles, where the competency tiles like are on the board,
and which innovations are in the game.
They just inject it with so much that it takes this incredible system and makes every time you play it so much fun. And I was this game, I was the 2-player game, I was the Lake Felines. You know,
I'm the water cat.
Yeah. So I think with Lake, you start out with 1 shipping,
which is really big,
which is really helpful. Especially when you realize that you put yourself in a horrible starting spot and you need to get elsewhere. So that was great. And then the Felines, they love building cities. Anytime you claim a city, you get to I think take what is it? You get, or maybe you go up on one of the 4 tracks. Like you get to choose. It's some bonus when making a city that's really good. But those are different every single time. And man, this game just, you're engaged the entire way because everything's just building off one another, and how to maximize, it's always this challenge of having enough workers, having enough money, having, utilizing your power in the best way possible to kind of optimize as the game goes on. And it's interesting because most of the points you're getting, our optimization as the game is going along. At the end of the game, scoring is incredibly simple. It's connected. Who has the largest, within reach connected area? You score the 4 tracks on the side.
Yep.
And that's it. And then money, And so in some ways, the scoring is actually very simple, and the rest of it is just in, as the game goes along. But the game feels like, I never want to call a game perfect, but for what this, Terra Mystica Gaia Project, for me, this is the perfect version of this. This is it. This is the one I'm going to want to play over and over and over. They better not
be making a fourth.
Yeah, I know. Well, and I think I did miss, because I think we liked Gaia Project more than Terra Mystica.
I did for sure.
It's funny. Gaia Project almost overwhelmed me even more than I think either of the other 2 did a little bit. And I don't know why. I think I like the board kind of map better than Gaia Project's kind of.
It's easier to parse your options because it's just simple adjacency.
Yeah.
Gaia Project's got a little bit more of the range and what can I get to, and you're not blocking as much.
Right. And even just visually, I don't know. This game's beautiful. It is just gorgeous on the table. The colors are vibrant. It looks incredible. And so, this, it's interesting. My wife, she played it with us 3 way back.
Yeah,
it was maybe a couple of years ago, maybe. And I think I think kids were loud and was distracted. It wasn't the best play of it. So she didn't really know initially her thoughts on it, but I think this play she was like, ooh, this one is really fun. So it was good for, makes this one more likely to get to the table. The fact that,
that's my challenge right now is I have a hard time getting this one played. I just I don't have an immediate group. These are the people that I would pull to get a game of it in. But I need to, because it really is in that top tier of favorite strategy games.
It's true.
My number 1 is not in the top tier of favorite strategy games, but it is a long time favorite of ours, and one that I've had a lot of fun playing with my son as of late. And it's a cooperative game that we've been losing a lot, but we keep coming back.
That's right. Perseverance.
And we
son.
finally, the 2 of us pulled out a victory in Dungeon Fighter.
Nice.
And this was just a fantastic game. And some of that is the buildup of we've been trying to get away. Because 2-player on like the standard difficulty is pretty hard, especially because we've been mixing in like some of the other target boards, which I think all of the
I'm
other
not sure
targets,
if I've ever played with any of the target
I would
boards.
say all of them are like
Harder,
more challenging than the original in just their layout or kind of the different things. But this was such an interesting game because it was one, we've had other games where we're like doing great. It's like, this is going to be the one. And then we hit some wall at the end. And it's so fragile with 2 players because if you get like some really hard shot combination, like it's only 2 of you. When you have more people that can miss. And like, if you need to get the colored dice back and all get a hit, there's still maybe some people that, have health. But when it's just 2, you miss, and then get hit to get your dice back. And you're like, well, I'm going to die if I miss again. Like,
so you only throw... Yeah.
No, you still throw all 3.
Okay, so you throw.
But it's just that the misses, if you're missing, which oftentimes on the hard shots, you're going to have some misses. It's not being dispersed among, if the hit rate for the group's going to be 25%, you're not getting that among a bunch of people that have health. And so we so quickly can get snuffed out and die because of that. This was not one of those games. This was like... We thought we were going to die really early in the game, and we're like crippled at the bottom of our health going into fight after fight and just like barely making out of fights alive and so it was almost like how far can we make it? And somehow we crawled our way limping through the dungeon to the boss fight, and it was like at least we made it to the boss. But and actually I love this rule change in the 2nd edition. With the boss fights, they tend to be very hard because you cannot get your colored dice back. In the original version of the game, it was just a standard fight. We could get, as long as you could take hits, you could get it back. Here, you just throw those 3 dice, and then you throw all your white dice. And the reason I like that is it suddenly makes weapons so important. Because if you go to that battle without any weapons, like you're just, the amount of damage you're going to have to do per die is just going to be really, really hard without having some weapons to get extra damage, which I like that because it's fun to be leaning into weapons more and be forced to lean into weapons more. And so Toby and I did have, he had the offhand shot, which he's left-handed. So he was throwing with his right hand. Which he's pretty good at. He's like a fairly ambidextrous kid.
Classic ambidextrous. So that's like,
you should get that one. And then I had the one where I had to bounce off like the ice, the like uneven ice block thing. And so, and we get to this last battle and we draw Shroomzilla, who's like this mushroom Godzilla guy, and he's got 38 health. And I mean, I think we have like 7 dice or something, and it's like, okay, it's like 6 per die or whatever damage we have to do. But we have these weapons that we can get +2. Well, Shroomzilla's ability is all of the odd results on the board are halved. So 5s become 2s, 3s become 1s. So it's like, okay, well, that's going to make it even harder to, do enough damage here. And so we're going and we're doing like enough. And we had a couple item things we did enough to like keep it statistically possible, but like still so outside of the realm of what we thought was going to happen. And so we get to this point where we have 4 white dice left and he has 24 health. So we need to average 6 with each one. And I end up with my 2 shots on it. I was first and third. I think I hit both of them with my weapon on a 6. So I think I did 8 damage on both. And then Toby, his first one was not very good. I think he got like a 2 or something.
Did you tell him that?
And yeah. So it basically came down to Toby has the last white die and he's down to 5 health. Now 5 health is hard because a 5 won't do it because he halves it down to a 2.
Right.
Sorry, we had to do 5, but that's with the weapon. But a 5 goes down to a 2 and his weapon only adds 2. So that would only be 4.
So he needs a 6.
And so it's this weird thing. He either needed a bullseye or he needed a 6 or he needed a 4 that wouldn't get halved.
Yeah.
But then he also was the character that it's like Melissa Firedaughter that can put out her flaming thing. And he had gotten that earlier in the round and had lit the 3 ring on fire, which I think basically doubled it. And so
3
it
also
canceled. So now 3 would also get to 5. So it's this weird thing of like, you don't want a 5, but a 3 would be okay. And so he's got this last shot that he's got to do. And this is something we love about Dungeon Fighter that we don't get from other games, is like, it's like that feeling of being in a sport and like the game's on the line. You gotta execute.
Yeah.
It's not just like, let's talk and figure out the strategic answer to this puzzle.
You have to perform.
It's like, we know what it is. You got to step up to the plate.
Son, it's your time.
and it still was like, the odds here are so low. And he throws it and it like spins and just plops right on one of the 6s, the 6 circles.
Yeah.
And we won it, and we just went nuts. 1, because we had lost like 8 games in a row. But 2, it was just like, we had from the like first floor of this game just been thinking every fight, this is the one that's going to knock us out. And then on the boss fight, it was like, we're going to do our best, but there's no way. There's just no way. And it just was like, well, there could be a chance. And for it to come down to the 1, and even then you're thinking, at least we put ourselves in this position. But Toby executed.
He did it.
And, it just was such an amazing experience to have together. Yeah. And, my stock in Dungeon Fighter has honestly been going up a lot this year, just from playing with him and realizing, 1, how well it can work 2-player, and just exploring this new second edition with all the content is just so fun. We were such big fans of the first edition of the game, and this now has so many new things to throw in and so many monsters and character abilities that make every session feel different. So, I mean, if I just look at the type of experience we got out of this game, it's like there's not very many games that can hit that high, have that kind of ceiling. So yeah, have to hand this session of Dungeon Fighter the top spot for the month.
Ooh, July was a good month and full of good games. You can check out any one of those games down below. Click those links. I think that supports the channel. Appreciate that. You can also click a video right here. We've got lots more on the channel and would love to see you in the next one.